And where do you think some of your disillusionment came from? Where you were really kind of floundering on music, maybe not thinking that could be a viable path for you. Where was the disillusionment coming? Do you think it was Rhode Island? I mean, there's it's not exactly
No, well, I can, in best of my recollection, this is a long time ago now, was the other students were more advanced than I was. They
right,
had. I remember that same drum teacher. He said you've got good hands. And he said these other students just have a lot more experience than you do,
right,
and that is true. Well, I went to a high school that didn't have a band program, so I didn't know how to. I could read drum music notation, but I didn't know music theory yet. So I had a lot of catching up to do, and a lot of the other students were that far ahead of me, and I think that's what got into my head. And the same thing happened at Berkeley, oddly enough, um, and it's kind of what made me switch from drumming to writing. There were drummers like Will Calhoun, who went on to be in the band Living Color. Terry Lynn Carrington, who was Arsenio Hall's drummer, has played with all the jazz legends. They were there at the same time, and when I'd see them play in recitals and things, I would just be blown away. And I got
hmm
a little disillusioned there as well. But luckily, there were other paths to chase at
right,
Berkeley.
yeah. And
But I don't think. I'm
go ahead.
sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say I don't think geograph geography had anything to do with it at this point about my disillusionment. I always knew because as a young kid I bought I don't know 100 to 200 vinyl records with my paper route money as a teenager. So, and I would scour those liner notes, so I knew who played on which track of Steely Dan's records, or I know who did this, and I saw where they recorded these albums, the different studios. So I was well aware that to chase the dream realistically, I was going to have to go somewhere.
right.
New York, Nashville, Los Angeles, somewhere. I mean, even London. I mean, that's where Paul Simon went for a while.
hmm
James Taylor went to London for a
A lot of big songwriters went over to London
while.
and just jumped in. And a lot of people at the time when that was happening didn't realize how much of a hotbed it was for songwriters to go over there and kind of shape what they were doing. London doesn't get enough credit, I don't think, in the world of songwriting. So,
Yeah. Well, the whole British invasion, I'm sure, had a lot to do with
oh, I'm
the
sure. And of course, the whole
infatuation.
Lennon McCartney catalog couldn't hurt either,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, just to name one. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'll tell you what. I'm see the way you're like talking about, almost studying liner notes. I'm that way with the credits of a song when I see the songwriters' names. I am such a songwriting nerd, and that's why this is such a big honor to me to talk to you today. But